watching the Senate Judiciary Committee's confirmation hearing for Christopher Wray. He is the nominee for FBI director to replace James Comey, who was fired back in May. And he's taking questions from lawmakers, and many of them are actually asking him about some of the things that FBI Director James Comey experienced. Our Justice reporter Paula Reid has been listening to the hearing. There were, I think, probably the most interesting Q&A portion of it has got to be Senator Lindsey Graham. But what's the big takeaway for you so far?
And Wray, this is fascinating. This man is nominated to be one of the most powerful people in the country. But before today, many people had never laid eyes on him and certainly hadn't heard him speak. And so far in this hearing, he has checked all the boxes. He has been asked, will you be independent of the White House? He has said, of course, yes. He was also asked, were you in any way asked to pledge loyalty to the president? He said no, and he said even if he was asked, he wouldn't do it. He was also asked about Russia. Are they an adversary? And after he was pressed, he said yes. But Anne-Marie, the most interesting thing to me so far is that he actually criticized his predecessor, James Comey, for the way he handled the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Specifically, he was asked if he would do what Comey did, which is hold a press conference to announce why he was not bringing charges. That is a break with precedent. Usually the FBI doesn't announce when they're not bringing a case against someone. And this was what the president said was his reason for firing FBI Director Comey. So it is very significant that here Christopher Wray says that he agrees that Comey broke with precedent and that he would not do the same thing. This is ultimately supporting one of the reasons given by the White House for his predecessor's firing. Very significant. Yeah, that was really interesting, and that came through when Lindsey Graham was questioning him. Senator Lindsey Graham really was pretty intense, I think the most intense in terms of his questions. He asked Wray about his stance on the Russia investigation. Let's just listen to that exchange. We can talk about it afterwards. Okay, we don't have it yet. We're setting it up. But I found it very, very interesting. In fact, Lindsey Graham almost basically said to him, answer like this. He was asking him about some of the circumstances that are unfolding right now. He asked him about Donald Trump Jr. and the statement that he made about his meeting with a Russian lawyer before releasing this email chain that we're all talking about now. I think we have Lindsey Graham's exchange right now, so let's play it.
You say that Mueller is a good guy, right?
That's been my experience, yes.
And you'll do anything necessary to protect him from being interfered with when it comes to doing his job?
Absolutely. I think he's a
Do you believe that in light of the Don Jr. email and other allegations that this whole thing about Trump campaign in Russia is a witch hunt? Is that a fair description of what we're all dealing with in America?
Well, Senator, I can't speak to the basis for those comments. I can tell you that my experience with Director Mueller—
I'm asking you, as the future FBI director, do you consider this endeavor a witch hunt?
I do not consider Director Mueller to be on a witch hunt.
Thank you. Can the president fire Director Mueller? Does he have the authority and law to fire him?
I don't know the law on that.
Can you get back to us and answer that question?
I'd be happy to take a look at it.
Okay. Do you realize that you're stepping into the role of the director at FBI at one of the most contentious times in the history of American politics?
Well, as Senator Nunn said, there have been a lot of contentious times in American politics, but I think this one certainly ranks up there.
I think that's a pretty good analysis right there. He was also asked about whether or not he thought Russia was an adversary, a friend or an enemy of the United States. And he was also asked whether he believed whether or not he believed the intelligence community's assertion that Russia tried to interfere with the 2016 election. I felt, Paula, he was a little cagey about whether or not Russia was a friend or foe. He said he would have to do more research, and that's when I think Lindsey Graham got a little more pushy with him, if you will.
Yes, it's very difficult for the prospective FBI chief to really comment on a foreign nation. That's a really tough spot for him to be in, because if he says, yes, they're an adversary, that could have an impact on diplomacy, on policy towards Russia. It's a very difficult spot to put him in there. But after he was pressed, he did say, look, I haven't read any of the classified reports. I'm still a civilian. But as soon as I become the FBI director, it's going to be one of the first things I read. He has read the public summary that all of us have read, and he says he has no reason to doubt that. That is significant because that is, again, another break with the White House and the president, who has called into question the assessment of the extent to which Russia may have meddled in the 2016 election.
Yeah, it was clear that a lot of what happened with James Comey was on the minds of these lawmakers. You mentioned that they asked him, a number of lawmakers asked him about whether or not he would have repeated what Comey did when he held that press conference to discuss the email situation with Hillary Clinton, a person who was not charged. And he said that he probably would not have, that he would have probably followed protocol. But just at the end there, Senator Kennedy was asking him about something that Attorney General Loretta Lynch asked James Comey to do, which is talk about the email situation with Hillary Clinton as a matter and not an investigation. And Kennedy asked him outright whether he would do that.
Exactly, and I think this is a common theme that you see in hearings like this. Instead of asking Wray questions about himself, they're asking him questions about Hillary Clinton. They're also asking questions about Loretta Lynch. And specifically, he was asked, well, if you were sort of pressured by the Attorney General or an acting Attorney General to refer to an investigation as a matter, because that's a word that seems less offensive in the public and in the press, what would you do? And Wray said that he would ask why. Why am I being asked to refer to it that way? He said he would consult with certain ethics officials. Now, in Comey's case, when he was allegedly asked to refer to the Hillary Clinton investigation as a matter, he said that it didn't matter because he said the press was smart enough. They knew that the FBI doesn't do matters. They do investigations. It's in the acronym. That's what they do. And he said that's why he didn't really pursue it any further. But again, it's them trying to perhaps highlight the errors of Democrats as opposed to focusing on the Russia situation at hand.
So, Paula, let me ask you, what is your take on how he's being questioned by Republicans versus Democrats? Typically, if a president nominates someone, the members of his own party tend to go over easy, throw some softball questions the nominee's way. Are you seeing a difference in the way Democrats and Republicans are questioning him?
Certainly, yes. You expected tough questions from Democrats. It was not a surprise that the first question he got from a Democratic senator was about the Russia investigation. But here you also see Republicans like Lindsey Graham having to be a little bit more aggressive, or significantly more aggressive in his case, in their line of questioning. I mean, he really tried to pin him down on how he would protect Mueller, his independence from the White House, whether or not this was a witch hunt. He was being much more aggressive towards him. He has no choice, because after the emails that were disclosed yesterday from Donald Trump Jr., it was clear that was sort of a shift in this investigation, and certainly the optics of what actually happened between the campaign and Russia. Even if there's no smoking gun, no legal charges can clearly be brought from those emails. Politically, it was a very difficult day for Republicans. So today, there does seem to be more of an effort to establish the fact that, yes, they are concerned about Russia and they want to protect the integrity and independence of the FBI and the special counsel to get to the bottom of whatever happened between the campaign and Russia. I think a couple weeks ago, maybe in a different administration, you would see the Republicans focusing less on Republican controversies and more on pet issues or highlighting Wray's personal accomplishments.
Paula Reid, thank you so much. I know you're going to stick around because this confirmation hearing is going to pick up again. They're just breaking for about 10 minutes. We are watching the confirmation hearing of Christopher Wray in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Christopher Wray is President Trump's nominee for the director of the FBI. You may recall the former director of the FBI, James Comey, was fired in May, about a third of the way through what is typically a 10-year term. So all eyes are on how Christopher Wray will perform today. We're going to take a quick break. You are streaming CBSN, and we are always on.